Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It is now 7:01 p.m. I'd like to go ahead and get this meeting started. The City of Brookshire City Council for the City of Brookshire will hold a regular session City Council meeting on Thursday, August the 15th, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. in City Council chambers for the purpose of considering the following. Before we go any further, I would like to do the prayer and the pledge, please.
Alderman Green, will you say the prayer?
Hey, where's the sheet?
Father God, we say thank you, Lord, for another day you've blessed us to see, Lord, and we ask that you sit with us today and lead and guide us today, Lord, for the business of this community. Help us, Lord, to make decisions that would be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Molina, will you do the roll call, please?
Alderman Green,
Present.
Alderman Taylor,
Here.
Alderman McAnally is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Richards. Mayor Branch,
Here.
Alderman McDade is absent.
Okay, we're going to do a little switching around, jumping around, get some things done first. Next, I would like to go to executive session, please.
First.
Doesn't matter, we'll do,
Okay?
attorney-client,
Yes, I know.
1071.
Yes, ma'am.
Public comments.
We'll do that when we come back.
Okay. Well, y'all just, I thought we was supposed to be on the show. Y'all was supposed to go to it. We couldn't, why couldn't- we couldn't.
You ready? Okay, it is now 7:27. We're back. We'll continue from the agenda. Item number 5, public comments in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, the Texas Government Code 551.007. City council may not discuss or take action on any item not listed on the agenda. Each member of the public wishing to speak must sign in prior to the meeting and is limited to 3 minutes. First person we have is Ms. Denise Odie. Good evening.
I'm here today, good evening, council members. I'm here today to express my concern about the safety of the children in my daycare getting off the bus. So today I called the school police, and they told me that they couldn't assist me. I called Brookshire PD, they sent an officer out. The only thing I want is just the presence of the police coming out, and the reason why I'm asking for the police present is because when the bus stops, the sign comes out, the lights are flashing, they totally disregard that bus. They don't have no respect for that bus. I have a cone sitting out, they've taken that cone out 3 times yesterday, today 2 times. So an officer did come, and he said that he would be outside at 3:25. He was there about 3:20. There was 2 of them. So they got to see firsthand today all the cars that was speeding down 90. They didn't even get to see the kids get off the bus because as soon as that light changed, the bus stopped right there. They had to go chase those cars because they were speeding. So it's bad when it's a bus stopped here, the sign is out, the lights are flashing, you have cars behind the bus, the cars go around the bus to get to the ATM machine at Wells Fargo. So I'm just asking for a little bit of assistance, maybe more police present. I don't have a bus sign. I don't know how to get that sign. I've been trying to get it for like 5 years. Still don't have a bus sign. My little cone can't take no more. So I'm just asking for some assistance. I think today, after they seen the police, it may help a little bit, but I need that presence more than just today. So I'm just asking for some assistance for the kids getting off the bus, and I have 7 that gets off that bus every day.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have Clyde Miller. Good evening.
So, Council, I'm only here today. I want to speak on a case that took place back in 2019. It was a domestic call. I responded to it. Get there, got out the vehicle. I hear a lot of cussing, a lot of issues going on. So I knocks on the door. Lady come to the door. I pull on out the house. Asked her, did she have any guns in the house? She said she didn't have any guns. So at that point, I asked her what's the commotion about. She says her boyfriend has spent her money. So she was a little upset about her boyfriend spending her money. And so at that point, 2 officers shows up, Officer Shaheed and Officer Phillip. And that's, I got the open records report there, so y'all can see who showed up to the location. But Officer Phillips and Officer Shaheed, they shows up. I go ahead and tell Officer Phillip to run the guy's name, the boyfriend that was there. I asked Officer Shaheed to run the female. So when I say, for the ones that don't know, when I say run, I'm meaning get their driver's license and run them with the dispatcher to see if they have any open warrants or anything. So, moving forward, they got the IDs and ran them. The guy came back clear, no problem with him. But the female she had warrants out of our jurisdiction. So me being the sergeant in the warrant division at the time, I've always tried to get people on payment plans so they wouldn't have to go to jail. So that was my part of what I did for the 6 years that I was in the warrants. So I was trying to get her to get on the payment plan. She was still a little upset about what her boyfriend did, and she wasn't paying anything. So at that point, Shahid placed her under arrest, put her in the back seat of the vehicle, and transported her. Later on, I get a packet saying that the lady's filing charges on me for putting her under arrest. But if y'all look at the packet, I'm not even the one that made the arrest. I'm not even the one booked in. I didn't put it. My handcuff stayed on my side. So why is this in my file? It has hindered me for a whole year now. Just about this has hindered me from even getting another job. So I really like that to be out of my file. It shouldn't be in my file. Should it be filed? Yes, it should be filed, but not in law enforcement, not in my file. I'm not even charged with anything. So why is this in my file? So that's the whole point. That's the only thing I want to let you guys. I wanted you guys to know what had taken place. So the lady is now filing that, saying that I tried to take money out of her. I don't take money off the streets. I do not take money off the streets, period. I've never taken money off the streets. Now, what I will do, I will put you in the back of the patrol car and bring you to the courts and let you deal with at that time, Miss Green. And Miss Green would handle that. So that's how that worked. So I just like to know, what can we do to get this out of my file?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Darrell Phillips.
Brother Mayor, Council, I just want to say I was one of the officers that responded to the call. There was a disturbance in progress. We made location. Miller had just happened to be in the area. He got there first. Whenever there's a disturbance, everybody available going to show up because we don't know the outcome of the disturbance. I want to say this here. Brother Miller did not arrest anyone. Officer Heat did. There was a disturbance. The law says we had to separate the parties. We could not leave the disturbance unattended and walk away. The young lady had got an attitude. She was upset about what happened, and Miller explained to her what was going on and said, we can try to work with you, but you got to take care of these warrants. We can't just, the warrants just don't automatically go away. Something has to be done about it. She was hostile before we got there. She had been cursing the boyfriend out and all this nonsense. And I'm saying you guys, the council, the Miller did not arrest anyone. When there was a call, the dispatcher asked the officer, your mic secured. When the dispatcher asks you if your mic secured, that means that they finna tell you that something happened with this person. So the mic was secured, showed that she had valid warrants out of the police department. We told her to confirm the warrant. She said warrants confirmed, blue copy, so she goes to jail. My name was brought up, said I was one of the officers that stood by and watched Miller mistreat this woman. I've been dealing with Brookshire 10 years. Everybody that knows Phillips, I'm not gonna let no officer or nobody mistreat no citizen in this city. I don't live here, but I respect the city and I represent the police department. I still have a couple of colleagues in the police department, but the mayor, you know me. I would not let nobody mistreat anyone. This lady had a legitimate arrest. She went to jail. She went before the judge. The judge posted on a bond for her. She also got out of jail. The only reason why her case got dismissed because the officer that was present with the city did not work for the city anymore. That was the only reason why her case got dismissed, because the officer no longer worked for the city. Again, I'm not a politician. I don't get caught up in political side. I'm just telling you, as a man of character, that brother did not arrest anyone. There's another officer arrested that person. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. That concludes the list. So now we'll move on to agenda item number 6. Consider and take action on consent agenda items listed on the consent agenda items are considered routine and are generally enacted in one motion. The exception to the rule occurs when a city council member requests one or more items removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action. Okay. Under 6, letter A, accept the minutes for July 22nd, 2024, City Council Budget Workshop. Just read them all. Okay, then next, B, accept the minutes for July 24th, 2024 special city council meeting. C, accept the minutes of August the 1st, 2024 regular city council meeting. And D, Brookshire Police Department monthly report. E, Municipal Courts monthly report, July 2024. And F, bills paid report, July 2024. Any questions?
I make a motion that we accept A through F.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next agenda item is number 7, new business. Consider and take action to execute the engagement letter from Baker Tilly for a single year audit for facial year ended in August 31st of 2022. Letter B is consider and take action to authorize staff.
Can we have discussion on this?
I'm ready to go.
So, do you have any information? I mean, this is 2022, so what is this concerning? I read the entire document. You have any background?
So really the only background there is that the city didn't follow through with doing their annual audits in the correct amount of time frame that they were supposed to. So a couple of what was it, like a month and a half ago, I came to you for the approval of the last audit that was done, which was 2020 to 2021. So we can't start this 21-22 audit until that last one was approved. So you're approving the trial balance. So then the new auditor will take that trial balance and know how to start the next audit. So basically what we're doing is we're getting caught up on our audits. I don't know why they weren't done in the timely fashion, but we are making certain. I've had conversation with Baker Tilly that they are going to finish this one and then automatically go into the next one and then go into the next one.
Where's the audit?
Do what?
Where is the details of the audit?
They haven't started it yet.
So we're going to begin the audit.
Correct.
It's not done.
Correct. That's what you're approving is
I thought so. And that's,
yes.
I thought so. I was just confirming that. And so my question is, where is this company going to get the documents from 2022, and who was in office at that time?
They actually come here on location, and then they have access to the Encode computer system, and then we have all of the documentation in folders. So we have all the check receipts, we have everything. It's in a specific area stored away, waiting for the audit to start.
Okay. What about 2023?
Same thing.
When are we going to do 2023?
When they finish this one, they'll use the trial balance of when they conclude this one, they'll use that trial balance to then go and start the 2023 one. So we're not done. I mean, next month we'll be done with the 23-24, and then hopefully once they finish the 22-23, that's the plan, is to just go right into the very next one.
Right. And I think the cost is like $40,000.
It is, and we've gone out to bid for that. And Baker Tilly is a very reputable company, and then they came back with the bid for that. And they are also doing our federal single unit audit for all of our grant money. Y'all had approved that a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So the previous council refused to approve the audit from 21
Correct.
and then did not do the audit for 22 and 23.
I don't say that they didn't do it. They engaged Baker Tilly to actually do a forensic audit, which is a lot more extensive than a basic audit. And they ran into quite a few hiccups with that in terms of staff not giving access to the computer system, not giving them the files. We actually did have to pay a bill for that, for work that wasn't done. It was $26,000. And that was just communication with staff and staff refusing to provide that information to Baker Tilly. And actually Justin was the attorney at that time, and he had to intervene and work with Baker Tilly and some of the staff at that time because they were not willing to assist Baker Tilly in providing them the correct information to proceed forward with the audit.
So where we're going to get it from now, since the auditors didn't get the information?
We have it all. We've recovered everything. We have everything now. We have the bank access. We have all of the bank files. We have the encode system. We have everything ready to provide to them. So as soon as council approves this, they can start within the next 30 days.
Okay.
Explain to me about the forensic audit.
I was not here when that was approved, so I can only possibly Ms. Taylor or the mayor, but apparently council had approved to have a forensic audit done, and they had gone out to bid, they had engaged the services, they had started the preliminary work, which is the file recovery. That's access to the bank, that's access to the financial system, files, and there were employees that had, I think, just were not cooperating with the firm. But keep in mind, we received a bill for that, and it's specifically noted on the bill that they, through emails, phone calls, meetings, they had requested information, staff was unwilling to cooperate, and they just weren't they could never access the bank accounts or the financial system. That's all I know. Like I said, the mayor and Ms. Taylor might know more or have something to offer.
They was trying to say that everybody was locking, wasn't giving no information. So what they would do was, like you say, that we start suggesting to try to see if we can have a man in the middle to try to get information for them to do the audit.
But we have it now.
Say they got them back. Well, the information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's a requirement, I don't understand why we're not doing 22 and 23 at the same time, but
We have had conversations, but they like to give the engagement letter. She said when they're almost done with the 22 to 23, she will provide us with the engagement letter for 23 to 24.
how much?
To our knowledge, it's going to be the same amount, roughly about the same amount, but they don't, she said, let them get through the 21, 22, and then when they're almost done, they'll provide us another engagement letter for the 23 to 24. And I do want to add that it is extremely important for us to get these audits done because this really does affect the process when we're applying for grants, because you have to have a current audit.
I agree with that, but I still have a problem with $40,000, knowing that we need to do 23. We can't negotiate with this company and reduce that cost and have them to do both audits at the same time.
I don't think so. It's a standard price given the amount of funds that we have included in our system, that we have multiple funds. We have, the operation fund, the EDC funds, and we have some other funds. It's if we engage more than 1 year, it doesn't really work like we get a special negotiated price. I will say Baker Tilly is a worldwide company. They're known for this, but when we went out to bid, they were significantly less. The next one in terms of price was closer to 60,000. And that was a local company in Katy.
I don't think we're gonna be able to budge them on that price. We're at fault for not getting it done in a timely manner. Well, the city's at fault. But maybe there's a reason why they didn't want to do that audit. So let them go ahead and do the audit.
So I
I
make a
said
motion.
maybe it was a reason they didn't want that audit done. So let's move forward with the audit.
I second.
Ms. Green, that was your motion,
Yes, sir.
and second. Okay. Ms. Taylor, your vote?
All in favor, aye.
Okay, all in favor, aye? Okay. Next one is letter B, consider and take action to authorize the staff to assist Denise Odie in her cancer awareness walk to be held in the city of Brookshire. Ms. Taylor?
Ms. Alder, did you have any information for that?
So I sent Miss Erica a route,
Okay.
and then I have alternative routes there also. I'm sorry, I only did
It's okay.
3.
I don't know if they've seen it. Have y'all saw one?
I saw her email.
We can, me and him
So
can share.
these are the alternate routes.
Okay.
Just in case if one didn't work, I
Okay.
listed them all. here.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
there's an alternate one to the first one also.
Okay.
Mhm.
So on this one, we obviously want to support this event. The only action that we need is we just need council to approve the route. Since she's using US 90, we technically have to have council approve the closure of that, and that will be the assistance with PD. So PD will assist with police on 90.
Okay, y'all cool? I make a motion that we approved the cancer walk on route number 1. It's gonna be October the 19th, 2024, starting at 9 a.m.
30.
Oh, 9:30, sorry. Well, I was trying to give you leeway, 9 o'clock.
You always want to get at it.
A second.
I was just going to say really quickly, I would just coordinate with Chief, and he can kind of give you direction as to what he thinks probably the best midway point for you to have that cooling station is. It's no big deal. You guys just coordinate on kind of what you think that midway point is going to be.
On this lease traffic. Oh, you seconded? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Letter C, consider and take action to create Brookshire Cultural Committee to assist city staff with special event planning including all previous selected holidays and the addition of Veterans Day. Mayor Pro Tem Richards and City Administrator Ward.
Excuse me. I really kind of didn't really ask for a committee, more so a position, a community outreach liaison position. With all the activities that we have with the city, requests for like the animal shelter, if we have a natural disaster, we could have someone partnering with the churches. We have all types of things like that. So I think it would be warranted for a position as a city employee to do this type work. What was your idea, Jennifer?
Well, we're doing the events, and I think it's great. What I was envisioning was taking somebody that we currently have on staff and just kind of using them as the staff liaison to kind of go back and forth with whoever this committee is. So I think in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, the ones that have done this, is that every council member kind of nominates one person to sit on this committee. And so you've got a committee of, 5 people, and then we have a staff liaison that kind of goes back and forth that helps them. And I think that we're kind of talking about the same thing, but kind of a little different too. It does get a little chaotic when we're leading up to a special event and you've got 5 people contacting finance, wanting a check, who can sign this contract. I think it works a lot smoother if you have one staff liaison that can go back and forth with the committee, and then that one staff liaison person who kind of knows the check request process, what the requirements for vendors are, that can kind of work back and forth with staff. I know that, Mr. Richards and the mayor, they sign checks, so they're fully aware of what expenses are being spent on those special events, but it's nice to have kind of a liaison that goes back and forth between you two signing the checks and with the group kind of what the budget is. For this event we've got $10,000 and kind of work through it that way. But if you want to, we're obviously in budget time, we can look at crafting a position that has specifications for those different areas.
Well, it's just my idea, of course. We'll need some input from the other council members and the 2 that's not here. I just, I look through this Waller County Express paper and I see the city of Hempstead. They get all types of donations and from some of their vendors and different things like that. So I just think it's warranted if we had a position to do this full time, I think there's enough work for it and there's enough involvement from the people and from the community that will be a big benefit for the citizens.
I will say that is, you look around at a lot of cities, that is a kind of newer style position with cities. It's somebody who handles community outreach, marketing for the city. They work with partnerships, and some of those things can be very, cultivating those partnerships and those long-term investments with people in the community, whether it's companies or it's just vendors who are repeat vendors with events. That can be very time consuming. So to that point, I will say, there are a lot of cities around us that do have those types of people. Some cities have them full time. Some cities they're part-time, 30 hours a week. Because, there's different times of the year where you might not have a special event, but maybe that's when you're doing more marketing stuff for the city. So we can build it a couple of different ways and just bring it back at budget time.
I would like to see a position drafted for this. I think it's a pretty good idea.
That's your motion?
Yes, sir.
I I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. D, review, discussion of the City of Brookshire Convention Center rental policy. Ms.
I think we ought to
McDade.
table this because she's not here. She probably has some questions.
I agree.
I do want to, since it's fresh on my mind, and I provided you guys with this, I worked with staff today leading up to this because I thought it was pertinent to kind of run a P&L, a profit and loss on the convention center, just so everybody kind of sees visually where we're sitting with the convention center. So you'll see that on this, the document that I gave you. It's actually one, you can kind of put it together, it's one really long. But the one thing I did want to mention is we essentially broke it out in between the old rental contract and the new rental contract, and it's about 50-50 in terms of reservation on the old contract versus the new contract. The year on this is not a 12-month period. We started with the fiscal year October, and because the furthest out event we have somebody that's already booked for January. So we went ahead and ran it just October to January 2025, which is the last, right now, rental that we have on the books. So you'll see there's only 18 rentals for that year in a fiscal year in a couple of months. I think the biggest thing, just when we're talking about kind of financial transparency and where we are as the city, is right now we're currently, like, the revenue that we're taking in from the convention center, which is just the hourly rental, is $2,590 for all of these 18. The expenses that we are spending to just have the convention center open, which we've broken it out into daily rates of water, electricity, gas, administration, which is the processing, insurance that's required on the building at a daily rate, and the operational value on a daily rate. And we're currently expensing $5,880 a year. So that's about 127% over expense on the convention center. So when we're looking at rates, I think it's important to realize we're not in this to make money, but it would be nice if we broke even. And we're 127% over that. So I just wanted to kind of put that in your hands so that you can see what we're spending to keep the convention center open versus what we're taking in for the rental rates.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is that paid out of hotel motel? The expenses, are they paid out of the hotel motel?
Yes.
fund?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Isn't there a revenue that comes in for the hotel motel fund?
There is, and
Deposited directly into that?
it is. In a hotel motel is a restricted fund. And so when we talk about the operational value, so we take the operational value, because that is so restricted on how you can use that money, only a percentage of that money that comes in from hotel motel can be spent on operational expenses. So we've taken that percentage out. We've calculated on a daily operational value of what the operational expenditures are, building maintenance of that percentage is. So it's not like we look at the total hotel motel fund of 300,000 and think, oh, no, because it's a restricted fund. We can't spend all 300,000 on maintenance expenses. And so, like I said, we're not in this to make money, but we do need to be cognizant at some point that you do want to try to break even with your expenses.
Excuse me. This is a benefit for the citizens. And sometimes when you have a benefit for the citizens, when you're operating a business, you sometimes do take a loss. Okay. And I think the benefit outweigh the loss.
I think so.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And also, I think that this convention center, the hours that we rented out, and I know we we talked about postponing this because Eileen's not here, and this is her deal, right? So, but since we're talking about it anyway, the hours that the convention center is rented out is not long enough. It's 5 hours. You take an hour to set up, an hour to clean up, it's 3 hours. So we need to extend the time. Okay, that's one thing, and we need to leave the price the same. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Me too.
Excuse me. In the past, we talked about the exact same thing that you expressed. But we also realized that these are taxpaying citizens in this community. And the reason why the rates were set and the hours were set the way they were was to be a benefit for the citizens of the community. All of that's changed. And the citizens are not happy about it. It makes it really hard to, and you mentioned hours, it makes it really hard to even set up. You cut your event time down. Is a real inconvenience. You used to be able to get the key the day before to set up. You're not in
Or
there.
even in the morning.
But all of that's changed now. We're not looking for it to be a source of revenue. In the past, we didn't want it to be a source of revenue, but we wanted it just to be a benefit to the citizens of this community. That's why the rates were higher for non-residents. So I would like to see some changes to this.
Also, concerning security, there's certain events that probably doesn't need a cop, and I think that we're charging what $50 an hour, if I'm correct, Chief. If we're having a baby shower, why do we need police officers there? I'm asking.
Alcohol.
I'm asking a professional.
Yeah, in the past, it used to be was
But
just
now
alcohol.
you still have to have the new one? No, I thought it's only if you have alcohol.
But I'm asking, the chief, his opinion. If we're having a baby shower, do we need security?
I wouldn't think so, but that's up to y'all as a city when it comes to liability issues and things like that, make sure the building stays secure, that it's locked. That's up to y'all.
Okay.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
city,
Thank you. Because we could probably have a public works employee there for that. Now, I understand that certain events, with alcohol and parties and all that, probably so, but we might want to revisit this again for concerning security.
Mr. Richards, one thing you want to also consider now, just because it's a baby shower, sometimes they have alcohol.
That's what I said, alcohol,
But he
if we
said
had alcohol.
only if. That's what you said.
That's
what I
what I
mentioned.
said, alcohol.
If they have alcohol, that's what I mentioned. Then it's different. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am?
I was just gonna say that I rented the convention center right before the change. And so, my event was being held, I think on a Sunday, and I got a call that I needed security for my event, even though it's gonna be, it was a small event, birthday party for a senior citizen. And it kind of bothered me that if I had rented it during that time frame, even though we probably had about 50, 55 people, I would have had to pay for 2 officers because we were a little bit over 50 people. Very small event, very, and I couldn't imagine seeing 2 police officers sitting in there with senior citizens while we were having a birthday party, no alcohol, but people are having to pay for 2 officers for 50, 60 people when there's no alcohol. So I just wanted to point that out to council.
You can revisit it, I mean, most places go like 1 per 100. I work at a lot of different venues, and that's most of the venues out, 1 per 100.
We used to, but they just brought up 2. We used to have 1. Unless it was,
If we want to leave this for no action today and then bring it back up when Mr. McTagg can be.
yeah,
Yes.
that's fine.
Okay. Letter E, consider and take action to appoint 3 new Economic Development Corporation board members per recommendation of the EDC board.
We'll make the nominations now, right?
Yes.
You have the names already, is that correct? Yeah.
Would you, yeah, their
I think I
little bios
see,
right here.
And what?
They're in the packet,
Right.
the bios.
Did I miss mine?
yeah, one of them's right here.
Hmm?
Right here, see how the actual the statements that they wrote. See right here, look.
Okay.
There you go, Mayor.
Make a recommendation. Right. So I make a recommendation to nominate Mr. Lyndon Stamps to the EDC board.
Did we, this is through the applications, like we
They've
Yep,
just sent
yes.
in information, yeah.
Also make a recommendation to nominate Maria Ujartecha.
Who? Okay.
Ujartecha
Oh, I know who that is.
to the EDC board. And I make a recommendation to nominate Odie, is that it?
Denise Odie.
I'm sorry, how you pronounce your name? Denise Odie? Yes, to the EDC board.
That was it.
No. Everybody goes back to 2. Remember, we did 2, 3 to stagger it, because it was all, yeah, so everyone's back to 2 now. Because they started it in, came on in 2022, so in order to stagger it, there was a group that had to be 3 and a group that had to be 2, so one position could only have a year left on it, and the other ones could have 2 years left on it. I think both of you are in a
7
2-year. Yes, I think both of you are in a 2-year position. I don't know if I have that information from Vicky. Let me look.
we have to have that now. I mean, we can put them on, I would prefer to put them in the position.
Designate.
Know their term, or else they're just like on the board. And
Jennifer's, she's looking at it.
we do have, there is a resolution somewhere that we sent that has the positions listed for the term. If the council doesn't care, we can just put them in, take these 3 names and put them in positions with terms. But I figure you'll want control of that.
Is it gonna matter?
No.
Not really.
Yes. I second that for,
Make them-
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So how many does that leave?
one. We have one
How
vacant.
many you got? Six? 7?
7 total. So we just
Thought
have
it
one
was
vacant.
6. Okay.
What I'll do, council, is put these names into a resolution, and I'll get them to Eric, have to get the mayor to sign off. That way it's official.
Okay, next is F, consider and take action to approve the engineering services contract with LJA Engineering, Inc. to be paid in part or wholly with American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Can we have discussion on this?
Hmm?
Is this the 1.3 drainage project?
No, this is I think it's 464. It's roads. It's what's left of the ARPA fund that we got, the American Rescue Plan. This will cover the roads.
Do we know which road's gonna be covered?
Yeah.
Is this the one with Kenny Street,
13.
Baines and?
Correct. We're going through our priority list. It's the color-coded list that I had given y'all. We're starting with the priority list and pretty much working through as much as we can. And I think we got it down to 3 full roads, which would be a full road replacement, mill and rebuild.
I thought we had a,
13.
something on the agenda, yeah, about Butternut and, didn't we have something on the agenda for that street? Butternut and 13th?
That's the- that's
Yes,
the one I
but
thought.
that
Engineer
was
was gonna come back to us and provide some information. And let us
That-
know also what the roads were done, over the past years. And I've not seen him back yet.
yes, we have that list. Do you have it in there?
And then that butternut.
I thought 13 was
That's
up at the
in the
top
city.
though, cause you said it was the worst street.
Well, I know, but
Does it include this?
It's,
No, 13th was just added, I think.
I
what
know,
was that,
but since they said it
2
was
months?
the worst, they was gonna move it up because it was a bad, like, the worst
Some
street.
of the other ones fell priority wise, actually fell in poor condition.
Where the list at?
it's green.
Oh.
It's the green. It's butternut is in the city.
Butternut, is it in the city? Is it in the city? This one is. It's butter. What is it called, butternut?
Butler?
Council, they have to hear everything. You guys can't fucking sit last.
Was butternut in the city?
Can you remember?
They
No,
were still
I don't
trying to
know.
confirm that.
Yeah, 'cause I don't remember.
Oh,
The
that's,
street, the
that's,
street.
that's the, that's that dead end street.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should be. Yeah, it's in the street,
Yeah, I know,
in the
but,
city.
okay. I
Yeah.
know that, but
It took me a minute to figure out where that was.
Cause they said it wasn't, that's
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the same, that's the two that we were saying that was moved up, cause they was the worst.
So we had,
I remember we made a motion on that.
so the ones that were identified and that's part of what the engineer is doing, is going through and looking at linear feet, looking at condition, connectors, things like that. So we had 10th Street, 11th Street, 13th Street, 1st Street, Purdy to Stallneck, Bain, Butternut, Depot, 5th, and Kinney.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so.
Well, correct, but Butternut was the one that we brought up that the engineer said there were some issues with that portion not being an actual public roadway, it being part, and they were having to get some clarification from the county on that.
So, from what I remember, the engineer said that he was gonna go back because he hadn't done anything on that list since 2000 something, right? And he was gonna go back and come back and let us know what was completed, what was completed on that list, and do a workup for 13th Street.
Right. This is,
So, yes, that is this right here. This list was created June of 2024. So this was just recently created. So one of the confusing things is that we got this ARPA money in 2021, and so they had specified X amount of it. It was I think it's 464,000 they would be using for roads. We had a previous engineer who was working on it that actually priced and scoped out some of these streets and for the road project, and the city was having issues with the engineer committing to that information, that linear foot, the project being done. So we actually had to go back out to bid for another engineer. LJA came in and said, we can't, this is not even a market price for these roads to be done. So that's why we've had to go back. He's created this list in June that has gone through, and when he did this list, this is every road in the city, and it tells us the 2020 assessment of the road, the current assessment of the road, the linear feet, the width. It has everything in it with the prices associated with it. So once we engage him, then he'll take the money, do the market analysis through engineering as far as what that $464,000 can get us. Is it one road? Is it two roads? How we want to utilize that, because some of these is it just a road repair? Is it a complete overlay? Because like if you're wanting to do 13th Street, that's $283,000. The one that is in the worst condition is First Street, and that's $693,000.
Is First Street part of the drainage project?
Yes.
I think that's part.
Drainage, but this is
Drainage, I
roads,
know,
right?
Yeah. So it was just alarming when he said that nothing's been done for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's why I asked him to go back and let us know 13th Street, regardless of what street it was, nothing's been done for a long time. And I understand you're saying that there's some issues with the engineers firm and all that stuff, but we just need to get something going with the streets.
Yes, and I agree. That's why we've been sitting on this money. We've spent almost everything else from the ARPA money that we have received. We've committed our stuff with the new software system at PD, the tasers, the radar guns. We've done all. This is the last portion, and that I agree. I mean, we have until the end of 2026. The money has to be. Sounds like a long time, but the grant the money obligation closes. It has to be reported for by the end of 2026.
Okay.
When I saw Bain Street on there, Bain Street was one of those that I was going to bring to EDC because there's a lot of commercial property on there, to see if EDC and how far down, because I think there is, I don't know how the apartments or townhomes or whatever that fall into that. I don't know if that's commercial or residential. I don't know how that.
Right. So this one on here, there's two sections. There's 90 to South, which is in good condition, and a complete overlay is 484, 880, and then south to I-10 is fair condition, and that's 526,400, roughly.
The portion between 90 and 5th Street is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right there at the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's been messed up
It's
for a while.
gone.
And keep in mind, those numbers I was giving you, that's the complete concrete rebuild. That's the mill it, remove it, new product come in, redo the road. That's not just an overlay.
And who picked these streets?
They're prioritized based on priority. The
It's on condition.
condition.
Okay.
The priority based on condition in 2020, and then they did an update in June of 2024, and there were some that were elevated in 2024 versus 2020.
But if we would have used EDC funds for Bain Street, then that would have freed up the funds for the ARPA for a different street. Am I correct?
And you can still, I mean, you can still do that. EDC can still allocate X amount.
We can put 13th Street.
Yeah. That's what
I
was
think
saying.
EDC, we have a project
With 10th
already
Street.
in the work. Yeah,
10th Street.
and
Mhm.
so I don't think that's going to be.
In the budget?
Yeah.
It needs to be done anyway.
Yeah.
That's probably the
Right.
worst street in the city.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The ideal thing to do in long term, you know, if there was a combination between grant money,
Mhm.
EDC, and some part of the city to do street work collectively,
Yeah.
you know, over a period of time, then
Right.
a lot of things could get done.
Mhm.
You know, we're behind the 8 ball now. We just have to
I agree.
work our way out of it.
Mhm.
Any more discussion?
Just need to approve the contract.
I'll make a motion, we take action to approve the engineering services with LJA Engineering.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have letter G. Consider and take action to accept the calculations of the no new revenue rate of .50060 per 100 valued valuation, and the voter approved rate of .56514 per 100 violations, approving the proposed tax rate of 2024 through 2025 fiscal year at .56514 per $100 violation.
Yes, so you will, in your package, you'll see I created a snap sheet for you, and it basically just drills down the TNT form, makes it a little bit more digestible. Basically, you'll see last year's taxable value was 910 million. We had a total tax rate of 59 cents. We were able to bring that down from the previous, as you'll see, it's actually previous 11 years of 64 cents. So we brought that tax rate down. Our total tax levy was 5.4 million. This year, our taxable value came in at a little over $1 billion, with 6.2 million of that being new taxable value to the city. That's 2,903 accounts citywide. That's both residential and commercial. So the voter approval rate that we are proposing tonight is .565140, which is a decrease from last year's tax rate of .59. And that's going to levy us an additional $358,000.
And I'll just add on for, maybe haven't done this before or unclear, circle the word proposed on your agenda. We're not setting the tax rate tonight. It's not what's happening. We are just accepting the calculations that the county gave us of the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. Tonight, when you set your proposed rate, if we're not setting it, we're just accepting our proposed rate. That will be the highest you guys can adopt next month when we do actually approve a tax rate to be implemented. So, I usually have my clients, which is exactly what you're gonna do, is set your proposed rate at your voter approval rate, because we're not going over that anyway, because we would have needed to call an election this coming Monday if we wanted to go over that. So, that'll let you adopt up to that rate next month.
Got a question. And I'm asking this question just from previous experience and being on the board during the recession. We dropped the tax rate. We hit a hard recession. Businesses move out of the community. Our sales tax revenue dwindle. what are the steps to take it back to where it was?
To put it, to, you would want to adopt a proposed rate over the voter approval rate?
No. Well, in the midst of a recession now you're talking about the loss of revenue to keep the city flowing. Now I experienced that, and now we're dropping the tax rate. I don't know how many people experienced that. Jennifer or Erica, I don't know if you experienced that. It is tough to keep the city doors open when there's a recession and businesses leave your community. Now, we have a lot of commercial businesses here and generate a lot of tax revenue. It's looking good right now, but I don't know what's incoming. You know, we dropped the tax rate, and how hard is it to raise the tax rate back up just to keep the doors open? Do you have to just have an election to? That's what I thought.
Yes.
Once you set it and you've gotten your voter approval rate,
Yeah.
you can't go over that without calling an election to do that.
So in 2019, Senate Bill 2 happened. And what Senate Bill 2 did was it changed the tax cap that cities could collect on ad valorem tax. So that's just your property tax. Previously, prior to 2019, a city could collect up to 8% of the ad valorem tax. In 2019, that changed in that they below halved it to where the cap is 3.5%. So now the highest that we can collect from the previous year's revenue amount is 3.5%. Now, unfortunately, in 2019, when that happened, the market hit a dip, and a lot of cities were not. I mean, when session was in and when that passed, there was utter panic across municipalities, and the first thing that happened is you saw public services being cut because, you know, larger cities couldn't suffice having budgeted for an 8% collection rate and now it being cut back down to a 3.5% collection rate.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, right now, I mean, even though we're lowering the tax rate at 56 cents, that's the highest that we can go because of the way that the law reads now. That's the 3.5%. Now, on the budget side, in preparation for what we're looking at, you know, inflation, potential recession, where we can make some conservative moves to counteract that is when I go and I put in a matrix and I do projections for our sales tax next year. We don't know what that's going to look like with the recession and the inflation, and we're kind of seeing internet sales that were once really, really high or kind of leveling out a little bit, is being very conservative on how we budget from last year's sales tax to the following year. Me being very conservative and cognizant of that, I only budgeted a 2% increase on sales tax for next year to give us that cushion to live within those means that if we did take a dip, we still weren't overspending when we had less revenue coming in. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah. No, it's I will say this has been a harder year with budget projections because well, first of all, every 4 years is hard to budget anyways. When there's a presidential election, people get very, very tight with the economy, and it's very hard to predict when you don't know. So that's something to always stay cognizant of. But with the inflation rates, I think Mr. Richards has brought that up before, and, you know, potential recession, it's been difficult. And at the same time, while we're dealing with market fluctuations, we're dealing with increased insurance costs. You know, the cost of insurance is rising and fuel prices are going back up. So it's been very difficult. This has been a harder year budget wise to find that happy medium. And the state actually created this year what they call a circuit breaker. So a circuit breaker is where the state has now come in, and any home that is not homesteaded, if you own a second home, you homestead the home that you live in, and then the second home, you could have whatever, I mean, it could be a 40% increased appraisal value. They've now put a circuit breaker in that caps that at 20%. So we've lost that second for people with secondary homes or maybe have a business that is in their name. It's all of that circuit breaker caps that. So we've seen some fluctuations here in Brookshire with that circuit breaker this year.
I don't have anything else, Mayor.
Oh, yes, actually, you need it for the,
I make,
So we have to do a roll call vote on this for when we post it in the paper.
yeah,
You
Okay.
have to do a posting.
right. I make a motion that we accept the new proposed, no revenue tax rate.
Second.
what did you say before tax rate?
Proposed.
Yeah, but I just wanna make sure you got all three of the rates. I thought I heard you say no new revenue rate from the other side. You're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have to go by roll call.
Oh.
Mr. Green?
4.
Ms. Taylor?
4.
Mr. Richards?
4.
Correct.
Number 8, budget discussion and update.
An overall update, I kind of just covered some of that. We're, being very conservative. I do have some ask from tonight that I'll go in tomorrow and start adding those in. But again, if you have anything specific that you wanted to add, just call me, email me, reach out to me and we can go over the budget form. Because what I'll do is at the next meeting, I'll have your full budget book, which will be the transmittal letter. It'll be the proposed budget, the proposed tax rate, and it'll have everything with the supporting documents in it.
When is the deadline? 29th?
August-
29th?
Yeah, 29th, that it has to be the proposed. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate because we won't have technically a tax rate by then. But yes, as long as it's submitted to the city secretary by then.
Okay.
Okay. Number 9, future agenda items. We'll start with you, Mr. Green.
Discussion, the late fees on the trash bill. Also, the discussion, do we need to vote on that? Discussion, the process, and just, I'm curious, and I want to discuss this openly. The permitting process for the development on South Street, 3528 South Street and 3512 South Street.
3512, you said?
And the last one, discussion, creating a school zone for the daycare on 90.
On the properties that you're talking about, there were 2.
Yes,
What was the first one?
3528.
Is that it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Taylor?
None at this time. He took mine.
Okay. Mr. Richards?
Discussion and possible action for grant works.
What do you?
Well, I want to discuss the grant works process and procedures. discussion and possible action for animal control. I have new information.
Okay.
Also, I don't know what this is gonna kind of fall up under, but I would like to get an update or add a process to what we do. We need a city administrator monthly report. I have about 10 items outstanding that we need updates on.
You said Monday, right?
Yeah, monthly report. And I would like to also get a copy of the mosquito control contract.
Oh, sure.
That's it.
And you can add, for me, Eileen, the review of discussion of the convention center back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it? Next, we have number 10, adjournment. Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.